Hey, Cowboys Nation, this is Cowboys Wire News, your home for breaking news, smart analysis, rumors, and film room insights. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a snap. Let's talk America's team. CeeDee Lamb has finally broken his silence. After weeks of speculation, controlled interviews, and absolute quiet, the Dallas Cowboys star decided to speak out. And his statements are shocking the NFL world, according to sources close to the player. Lamb expressed extreme frustration with what is happening behind the scenes of the team, claiming that internal actions are undermining not only the team's performance, but also the morale of every player. Lamb reportedly used strong words, saying there is a kind of silent destruction happening inside the locker room, something he believes can no longer be ignored. The feeling he conveys is that even though fans see a competitive team on the field, the reality behind the scenes is completely different, with questionable decisions, lack of communication, and a toxic environment threatening team harmony. Such statements from one of the team's most influential players serve as a red alert for both management and fans, because they indicate that the problems extend beyond on-field performance into the emotional and strategic structure of the franchise, which could compromise entire seasons if not addressed immediately. Lamb's words demand urgent attention as they reveal fractures that, if left unchecked, may affect the team's identity and its long-term prospects. Lamb's comments are far from superficial criticisms. Sources say he directly addressed the team's management, asserting that certain decisions made by executives and even some coaching staff are eroding trust among the players. He reportedly pointed out that perceptions of favoritism, seemingly contradictory choices, and constant shifts in strategy are creating uncertainty and distrust, which can be devastating in football, where teamwork is essential. Even more striking is that Lamb allegedly feels isolated in the midst of all this, as if his attempts to highlight problems were being ignored or minimized. For a player who has consistently shown loyalty to the team and the city, this situation is extremely delicate and generates mounting frustration. The receiver's words sound like a desperate plea for recognition of the internal issues, a call for the Cowboys leadership to acknowledge that cracks exist behind the scenes, and that media attention and fan admiration alone cannot mask what is truly happening off the field. The sense of urgency in Lamb's statements makes it clear that something serious must change to prevent deeper consequences. One of the most striking rumors is that Lamb reportedly mentioned direct conflicts between veteran players and the coaching staff, suggesting that relationships between the two groups are increasingly tense. He allegedly used the phrase destruction from within to describe how minor disputes and misunderstandings are escalating, compromising the unity necessary to overcome the season's challenges. Insider reports indicate that recent decisions regarding lineups, training, and contract management have created quiet frustrations that are now surfacing publicly through Lamb's statements. The severity of the situation is reinforced by the fact that CeeDee is not only a talented player, but also a natural leader within the team, someone others look to for guidance. When a player in this position voices such serious accusations, the impact is almost immediate. Cowboys fans, accustomed to seeing the team as cohesive, are stunned to learn that, internally, the reality is far more complicated, and that relational and management issues may be undermining the team's potential, even more than opponents on the field. Furthermore, there are rumors that this dissatisfaction is not new in the locker room, but that Lamb has been one of the first to publicly put a spotlight on it. For months, players and staff reportedly discuss concerns over favoritism, questionable decisions, and a system that allegedly undervalues input from more experienced athletes. Lamb supposedly emphasized that while the public sees only wins and losses, there is a silent battle behind the scenes that compromises both environment and collective performance. According to reports, this internal tension has already begun to affect player confidence, creating a negative cycle in which communication breaks down and resentments grow. Lamb's statements, therefore, are not merely a vent, they are a warning that, unless the Cowboys management acts quickly, this silent destruction could have irreversible consequences, both for the locker room morale and on-field performance. For NFL observers, this type of disclosure is rare, making Lamb's words even more impactful and controversial. Some sports analysts have already begun debating the possible impact of Lamb's statements on the Cowboys season. The main concern is that when a player of CeeDee's stature expresses frustration in this way, it can directly influence the behavior of other athletes and even the coaching staff. There is a risk That media coverage will delve into every detail, amplifying rumors and increasing pressure on the team. On the other hand, some experts believe this type of disclosure could serve as a turning point, forcing management to confront problems previously ignored or swept under the rug. By speaking out, Lamb puts a magnifying glass on internal issues that, if addressed, could completely transform the locker room atmosphere and consequently the Cowboys' performance. It is a delicate moment where every word carries weight and could either provoke positive change or exacerbate tension, depending on how the leadership responds to criticism and public scrutiny. As the repercussions grow, sources close to Lamb say the player is determined to maintain his stance and continue pushing for internal changes. He understands that speaking publicly carries risks, but believes the team's integrity is at stake, and that fans need to know what is happening behind the bright lights. This determination reportedly reflects not only Lamb's leadership qualities, but also his genuine concern for the Cowboys' future. He wants more than just game victories. He wants a team structured on trust, respect, and cohesion. If the management interprets his statements correctly, it could mark the beginning of a positive restructuring. However, if ignored, the situation could deteriorate further, increasing the risk of conflict, dissatisfaction, and even the departure of key players. It is a critical moment where every stakeholder must focus on restoring harmony and efficiency within the team before the silent destruction escalates into something irreversible. The tension inside the Dallas Cowboys locker room, as revealed by CEEDEE LAMB, is sending shockwaves through the NFL community, and insiders suggest the impact could be far-reaching. Lamb's statements have reportedly ignited a series of hushed conversations among players and staff, as many are now questioning the true state of leadership and team cohesion. Sources claim that veteran players are particularly concerned about the growing divide between management and athletes, and that discussions about internal favoritism and inconsistent strategies have become more frequent, almost as if the team is bracing for a confrontation that could redefine its identity. Lamb's candid remarks appear to have broken an unspoken barrier, emboldening other players to voice their concerns and perhaps forcing the organization to face truths it has long avoided. Analysts are warning that if these tensions are not addressed immediately, the silent erosion Lamb described could escalate, affecting not only locker room morale but also on-field communication, which is critical for a team with championship aspiration. Fans, meanwhile, are left in suspense, caught between admiration for Lamb's courage and anxiety over what these revelations might mean for the season ahead, creating an atmosphere of speculation that fuels every conversation about the Cowboys. Adding to the intrigue, rumors indicate that Lamb's dissatisfaction may be influencing contract negotiations and potential trade discussions within the franchise. Sources hint that some players, unsettled by the internal chaos highlighted by Lamb, are reconsidering their long-term futures with the team. And whispers of unrest have even reached certain coaching circles. The perception of instability, fueled by Lamb's public critique, is being interpreted by some insiders as a warning sign that the organization could lose its competitive edge if the issues persist. Analysts speculate that management now faces a delicate balancing act, addressing the grievances of star players without publicly admitting to internal dysfunction, while simultaneously maintaining fan confidence. The ripple effect of Lamb speaking out could also extend to prospective players and agents, who may perceive the Cowboys as a high-risk environment despite the team's historical prestige. In essence, one statement from a single influential player has the potential to trigger a chain reaction of uncertainty, prompting leadership to act decisively or risk seeing morale crumble in ways that could affect the team for years to come. Sources close to Lamb describe him as increasingly frustrated with what he perceives as a lack of accountability among both staff and leadership. He reportedly feels that his concerns have long been ignored or minimized, and that the lack of transparency is undermining trust across the locker room. This sense of disillusionment appears to have driven Lamb to speak publicly, hoping that by shining a light on internal issues, he might catalyze meaningful change. Insiders suggest that Lamb's statements are not just complaints, they are strategic, designed to force the organization to recognize systemic issues before they worsen. The timing of his public remarks is also notable, as it coincides with critical points in team development, suggesting that Lamb's frustrations may be rooted in a genuine desire to protect the Cowboys' competitive future. Observers note that players of Lamb's stature rarely risk their public image to address internal politics, Highlighting the seriousness of his concerns, the NFL community is now left speculating about what actions management might take, whether temporary measures or significant structural changes, to restore harmony and prevent the quiet destruction that Lamb warned is already underway. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. The ripple effect of Lamb's revelation seems to have reached other key players, who reportedly are now evaluating how their roles within the team might be affected by internal dysfunction. According to insiders, conversations about leadership, respect, and recognition are taking place quietly but with increasing urgency as players try to gauge whether their efforts and loyalties are truly valued. Lamb's outspokenness may have created a catalyst, allowing teammates who previously stayed silent to voice their own concerns about inconsistent coaching decisions and internal favoritism. Analysts argue that such internal dynamics, if left unaddressed, can manifest in subtle but damaging ways on the field. From communication breakdowns during critical plays to hesitation in executing strategies that require absolute trust among teammates, fans, naturally, are speculating about potential repercussions, imagining scenarios ranging from locker room confrontations to even bigger shifts in team composition. The perception of a team divided, as Lamb described, threatens not just performance but reputation, making it imperative for management to act with urgency, diplomacy, and a clear vision for rebuilding cohesion before the consequences spiral further. Some reports suggest that Lamb's statements are also influencing the coaching staff's approach, with whispers that strategic decisions and play calling may be reconsidered. To address the internal unrest, sources claim that the coaching team is under pressure not only to win games but also to manage interpersonal conflicts, ensuring that key players like Lamb feel heard and respected. Analysts note that the dual challenge of maintaining competitive performance while resolving internal tension is extraordinarily complex, especially in a high-stakes environment like the NFL. The Cowboys management is reportedly facing a choice between taking immediate, visible action to restore trust or allowing tensions to simmer, potentially risking a broader collapse of morale. Meanwhile, Lamb appears steadfast, emphasizing accountability and transparent communication, making it clear that he will not remain silent while the team he represents is destroyed from within. The combination of public scrutiny, internal anxiety, and the weight of expectations creates a narrative that is impossible to ignore, turning every interview, practice session, and boardroom meeting into a potential flashpoint in the ongoing drama. Finally, insiders suggest that Lamb's courage in speaking out may redefine the team culture, setting a precedent for accountability and honesty moving forward. While risky, his decision to address the situation publicly could be the catalyst needed to force the Cowboys' leadership to confront uncomfortable truths. Analysts speculate that if management responds appropriately, acknowledging the issues and implementing structural or relational changes, the team could emerge stronger and more unified. On the other hand, failure to address these concerns could intensify internal friction, potentially leading to departures of key talent and further public scrutiny. Fans are left in suspense, anxiously watching every development, while the broader NFL community observes the Dallas Cowboys as a case study in how elite teams manage or fail to manage internal turbulence. CeeDee Lamb's words have transformed what might have been an internal dispute into a story that now affects perceptions across the league, highlighting the fragile balance between talent, leadership, and trust, and leaving everyone wondering what will happen next inside the Cowboys locker room. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.